Hello there, my gorgeous morsels. Today we are going to be talking about why everybody is losing their mind out there. Mostly we're seeing this across the board on social media. We're seeing it on the actual media platforms as well. And there's so much negativity, and I know that everybody's probably really feeling that right now. There's a lot of anxious energy happening on the planet collectively. For one, I just deactivated my Facebook account last night simply because I cannot handle the emotional temper tantrums and emotional abuse of some people. I believe always in having honest discussions. I think that our country needs to get back to a place where, political bipartisanship can happen again, where, okay, one side concedes, right, great, you are, going to be filling this position that I was hoping that my guy was going to fill, but now since we didn't make that happen, let's work together so we can further the common goal and the common welfare. And that's not happening anymore. I haven't seen that happen since, the past presidency. And I think that was when I noticed when our country was particularly divided more so than ever before. And I just wanted to talk about that for a minute. I can't even tell you guys how bewildered and constantly in awe I am of the deplorable behavior by some people. For me personally, whenever I speak to somebody, I always allow them to retain their dignity. This is very important to me. I do the best I can. Obviously, I'm a human being. We're all fallible. We make mistakes. But the thing is, I will always call myself out on my shit. I will be the first person to admit fault in a situation or wrongdoing, and I want to rectify that. For me, integrity is everything. Honor is everything. It's the only real social currency that we actually have. And I grew up in a small town, so if you pissed off Bill, you're gonna have to see Bill every day for the rest of your life. And now I live in a big city, and there's not as much accountability. And I think that is part of the reason, the contributing factor, why people feel that they can just run off at the mouth and say whatever they want and there's no consequences, because there's no real accountability anymore. And especially on social media, there's no accountability. So people feel that they can just get behind a keyboard and all of a sudden act, in a way that they would never behave person to person, interpersonally. Just last night, I shouldn't have engaged. I know better, but at the same time, it's like, I think for the majority of our country and the majority of the world, the people who think the most are usually often the most quiet, reflective people. We keep our thoughts to ourselves. We typically keep our opinions to ourselves because we know the emotional backlash and the abuse that's it's gonna be this barrage of never ending annihilation attempt on your soul. My God, these people need to get some perspective. So I know, like many of you feel the same way. I know that we tend to remain silent, and the silent majority out there, we tend to remain silent because we just don't want to deal with the headache that's going to naturally ensue when you question these radical extremists, when you question their thought process. And there are no facts, is what I've determined. There are no facts that support all of these outrageous beliefs, and it's all opinion based, it's all feeling and emotion based. And I used to think when I was younger that I belonged to a certain social group. It felt like we were fighting for injustice. It felt like they seemed to care about free thought and new ideals and progress. And obviously, who doesn't want to support that? I thought that would be being an artist and a free thinker and a free spirit and a total weirdo that I am. I thought that would be my people. And I actually I'm from Wisconsin, for those of you who don't know me that well, and I moved to our state's capital, and I actually found I had really never experienced being treated worse by total strangers. I had never experienced people just making snap judgments about my character, probably because I wear eyeliner and have white hair. They presumed that I was going to be a certain way or behave a certain way, so it was almost like they had to reject me and put me in my place before. I don't know what happened in their mind in these scenarios. So the people that often posit that they are for change and for free choice and for free thinking, I have found it is the exact antithesis of that. And I know so many people, like I said, remain silent day in and day out. And I used to too, basically, just because I didn't want to deal with the retribution and the emotional abuse that would naturally come from the other side when you either question the idiocracy or the hypocrisy that they follow, whatever. They're so indoctrinated into the matrix. It's wild that a person could carry on for this long in their life without having to be accountable for their thoughts. I remember when I was young, I had a history teacher one time who always taught me to back up my opinions with facts, and that my opinions were not valid unless I could back them up with facts. And I do have a lot of opinions about certain things that I actually stopped talking about because my history teacher back in grade school or junior high, whenever it was, she was right. I don't have enough facts to support the things, the hypothesis that I believe. There's a lot of what people would call conspiracy theories going on out there right now in the world. And so I started focusing on what I actually can control. What I can control is my own behavior, my own thoughts, my own actions, no matter what, always lacing my voice with kindness, no matter what, making sure that whenever I do engage with anybody who has a differing opinion or ideology from me, that I'm always treating them with compassion and respect. And it is mind-numbing how much that is not reciprocated on the other side. So basically, if you're out there watching this and you're feeling this way too, do you know what? You're not alone. Just keep being a paragon of integrity. Don't engage. Hold yourself to a higher standard. Take the high road. It's such an energy suck and an energy drain. And I, for one, I can't take it anymore. I have so much good to focus on in my life, and you can't try to wake people up. It never works. All you can do is really lead by example. And every time I've ever tried to wake somebody up or show them, the other side of the matrix that they are so plugged into, all they do is fight you and ridicule you. So it's really just not worth it. Just do the best you can. If you are out there spreading awareness, then beware. You're going to get a ton of backlash, and it will be from the hypocrites who claim that they are for love and compassion, which is just ironic and absolutely laughable. And it really is a lot of people out there who are remaining quiet day in and day out. And honestly, those are the scariest people sometimes. I feel like there's a sleeping giant slowly waking up from its slumber in our country. And people are just sick of it. We're sick to death of, these radical bullshit people who want socialism, people who want communism, people who want to strip away our constitutional rights. I challenge anyone to provide me an example of where communism has worked in the past. And every time people talk about stripping away our Second Amendment right, every single time throughout human history that they have disarmed the people, mass genocide has followed. And I never thought that I would be for gun energy. I'm actually not. I am a peaceful woman. I love the moon. I have crystals. If one fucking glance at my bookshelf will tell you that I typically am just I'm a deep thinker, I'm a poet, I'm a lover, I'm a passionate woman, I'm an artist. I am for free thinking, I'm for everybody having their own individual rights guaranteed. Okay, so I never thought for a second. I used to think that I was liberal when I was younger, but what I realized was that I am actually like just a libertarian constitutionalist. I want the Constitution. It works. We have rights that no other country has. I have so many friends down in Miami, down here, that are Haitian and Jamaican, and they tell me stories all the time. Like in Jamaica, my one friend, he's like, yeah, it's illegal to be gay. You will get ripped out of your bed, drug out into the street, and beat to death, and then burned alive, and then your community will watch that. And these are the police doing that, and it has nothing to do with race. This is what happens in third world countries, some third world countries. I literally was just having a conversation last night about a man who came here from Haiti, and he was just telling me how petrifying it is. He's like, you could never go there, only to one part of the island. He's like, if I went back there, I would be murdered. Like, he's like, growing up, there's not enough food. So, a father comes home at night and just looks at his hungry children and just has no idea what he's going to do, how he's going to feed them. And there are no opportunities there. And that's what people don't realize who are complaining about this country is we live in the greatest country in the world. It's the greatest superpower in the world. I challenge anybody to go and live somewhere else. If you do not think that this country works for you, then you should go and live somewhere else. I for one, I can't deal with the nonsense anymore, the hypocrisy, the primitive schoolyard bullying and name calling. And unfortunately, the internet facilitates most of this because, again, people are not accountable to their word. And I think this is just like across the board on the left side. Like people, they just have no accountability. They have no integrity and personal honor for the things that they spew out of their mouth. And their facts are not facts, they're feelings, and they're unresearched and biased and absolutely just mind-numbing. It's a total runaround, and you'll never get an answer that makes sense out of anybody. I've tried. There is no logic base there. And that's what I can't stand. No logic and the hypocrisy. Again, so back to, the people who are just keeping their thoughts to themselves, like, cheers to you. And it's exhausting. And again, that's why I just deleted my Facebook. It's liberating for me. I don't have to worry about, even being tempted to like jump on there and get sucked into like the void, the cavity that is that cesspool of mindless logic, lack of logic. So the people that are out there who are sick of it, you know what? Hang on, hang in there. Good always wins. And there is a mass shift taking place on the planet right now, all over the world. I know it doesn't feel like that, but actually our solar system is moving into a new space into the universe that it's never been before. Our crystalline grid that actually surrounds the planet, which is what holds the Gaia or life force energy on our planet. If we didn't have the crystalline grid, just to give you a quick explanation, we would have chaos energy. And there are places around the planet that have a hole in the crystalline grid. So there is raw Gaia life force energy that just is able to disperse from there, basically like a wellspring. And one of those places is Ireland. And Ireland is a fascinating, mystical, magical country. And without making this into like a fairyland video, which I could easily go there, there are actually reports that they had to repaint the coordinates on the airport in Dublin because our crystalline grid around the planet is shifting, the energy of the planet is shifting, and that's why people also want to talk about climate change, which is just another unfounded hoax. And but what is happening is our energy of the entire planet is shifting because our entire solar system is moving into a new space that it has never been to previously. This is a fantastic time. If you guys follow any ET action or any esoteric stuff out there, or anybody who is like a channeler, they will all tell you the same thing. The presence of God is coming back to people that have been lied to about who we are and where we come from for millennia. And the people that have their thumb on the necks of people, or their foot on the necks of the people, basically are losing their grip and they're losing control over us. So all the people that are awakening out there, you know what? It's painful. Awakening is painful. It's a painful growth process. Change is painful, but nothing is more painful than staying stuck somewhere that you do not belong. So just know that light is being shown onto the planet. We are healing, we are evolving, people are waking up to consciousness and realizing that, you know, the earth is not stagnant, that we all have this interwoven flow of consciousness between all living beings, between all things. Everything has consciousness, mountains, trees, rocks. And my very, very tangential point here is that people are mass awakening by the droves. So I know it seems crazy out there. I know everybody's in panic mode, but just stay off social media if you can help it. Turn the news off, because the mainstream media is just a total farce. I mean, it's a theatrical, ridiculous play that we're seeing. Everything is fake. It's staged. You can't tell who has the truth anymore, and the people that claim to have the truth, I've found, are often like the biggest liars and the biggest puppeteers, and definitely always have a sinister agenda to control people. So don't believe what you hear. In fact, yesterday I speaking of mass change and shift, I had a friend tell me that basically, like, I'm just full of shit and I pretend like I'm full of rainbows and squishy and sunshine when I'm not. And the truth is that, you know, she's right. I'm not rainbow and squishy and sunshine. My actual vibration of my name, Adrian, means dark one, not evil. Don't be all fucking Puritan, you know, burn the witch on me, guys. But Adrian has the vibrational frequency of darkness, which means shadow. So this means the subconscious mind, the internal shadow self, the what's not always displayed. It's an exploration internally of what is hidden. And so people who have the name, the vibration Adrian, will actually always seek out enlightenment. And from a very young age, I've always been a very inquisitive little mind, wondering, you know, what the secrets of the universe are. And I've spent my entire adult life pursuing those alternative healing methods. I've always been just scouring for what the truth actually is and doing my best to keep my internal gut and my internal instincts finely attuned. Because when you have high vibration, you know how to engage your instincts and your intuition, and that will never steer you wrong when you are connected to it. And there are so many people out there right now who are just running amok, like losing their marbles, because they're not connected to their intuition. They're not connected to their highest vibrational self. I have gone through the dark transformation. I have gone through, you know, scouring my soul and healing trauma and clearing past life energy and clearing ancestral fucking energy that I inherited. I have done all of this stuff. It's painful, it's exhausting. I've spent a lot of my life in, you know, weeping and breaking lineages, and that's what I came here to do. I'm doing exactly what I came here to do on this planet. Breaking the old lineages so new light can shine. Rumi says, one of my favorite quotes by Rumi, the wound is where the light enters. So collectively, as a planet right now, you know, we have a lot of wounds, and it's a good thing though, because the light is getting into places that have only ever known darkness before. And I know it seems crazy, and I know it seems like it's, you know, the world is flipped upside down and turned in on itself, but it's actually a very beautiful thing. Human beings we have been lied to for so long about who we are and where we come from. Okay, we've been lied to about God. We've been lied to about everything. We've been lied to about our internal power and what we're capable of. And the people that are now coming into our orbit and our frequency are trying to wake us up to this. And the people who are fighting that and are claiming all of this ridiculous third dimensional bullshit, they don't want us to evolve. They don't want us to move forward and progress into the fifth dimension. And they don't want us to heal. They don't want us to remember who we are. And why? Why would somebody not want that? Because of control, because of power, because of ego, because of greed. All of these third dimensional things. If we remember who we are and how powerful we actually are, then they can't control us anymore. And that's the whole point. That's why I get so frustrated with people who are out there burning down buildings in the name of peace and love. Like, that's bullshit. Come on, if you want to spout that, like, talk to somebody else. That is bullshit. You're not out there setting your neighbor's business on fire because you're a compassionate human being. You're a piece of shit if you do something like that. Think for yourself. Don't get swept up in the mob mentality. You are on the wrong side of history. Okay? Don't be on the wrong side of history. And I know that it would seem like you're championing the right cause to get swept up in all of this hype. But you are on the wrong side of history. If you are acting out of ego, you're always wrong. If you are acting out from love and compassion, you will never be wrong. So make sure that we are just walking our talk and speaking our truth as much as possible, having compassion. Do not engage with the people who would rob you of your light. Do not engage with the energy vampires, and they're out there and they're just waiting to troll you. Just stay off social media. It's a trap. And, my girlfriend was right. I'm not all sunshine and rainbows and butterflies. Like, that's not reality. But what I do with the darkness that I explore, or the shadow self, or the subconscious psyche that I find, I face those things. I face all of those shadows and skeletons. I face them head on, and that takes balls. It takes courage, it takes bravery, and not everybody fucking does it. When you can take those wounds and the pain within you, and you can transmute it and turn it into light, that makes you an alchemist. And once you do that, you'll be unstoppable. Anything that happens to me now, like, once you've been through things like that and that kind of transformation, you just have this sense of playfulness and lightheartedness, and you realize that everything's gonna be all right. Every little thing is gonna be all right. Don't worry. Because nothing is worth selling your soul for and getting sucked into the ego trap, and you're infusing and reaffirming darkness into your life. Whatever you can do to remind yourself to always operate from your higher self and your love and compassion, it will change your very brain chemistry. It will break old neural net bonds in your brain, and your brain will form new neural net pathways. So again, I wasn't born love and light and squishy and rainbows and moonbeams and shit. I made that. My first instinct is not peace. I am an Aries with a Scorpio rising. My first instinct is to annihilate your bloodline if you piss me off. I have trained myself to operate from a place of peace. I don't like to debate people, because when I'm given new information, I like to go within and examine it and let it ruminate within my soul and, determine for myself whether or not it's true. And if I have to react at all. A lot of times you don't have to react. And so for me, I always like to just take my time, meditate, breathe free air, breathe the oxygen, take that stinky fucking mask off, breathe. It's the breath of life. Every single function on every level of our being needs the breath of life. Breathe. Everything's gonna be okay. that's all I have for you guys today. That went way longer than I thought it was going to, but I have a lot to say about this, as I'm sure you guys do too. So go ahead and leave me a comment. I don't have Facebook anymore, so you gotta find me on Instagram and YouTube, and I put up new videos every day. It's gonna be an intermingling of whatever random shit I have going on in my psyche up here. Music videos, voice lessons, and tarot card readings, tea leaf readings. I do all that kind of stuff. So try to keep it interesting for you guys. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on your notifications so you can watch whenever I put up more random weirdness, okay? So cheers, love you guys, and hopefully you have a blessed day. Okay, peace.